We're the Armchair Experts, and what a huge two finals game we've got coming up this weekend, of course. We've got the Eagles having a rest and the Tigers, as they wait, hosting prelims, but two ripping contests. We might start with Friday night because the D's were outstanding last week. They eliminated the Cats. The Hawks had their moments early, but blew some opportunities, and in the end, the Tigers sort of had control, although it only ended up being a 31-point win. But the MCG is going to be rocking, 90,000 plus. What are your early thoughts, Adam Cooney?
There'll be a big crowd. That's my early thoughts. And you know what?
It's a good thought.
Oh, sorry.
We only had 91,000 plus last week.
You know the matchup I'm most looking forward to out of this game? McAvoy and Max Gawn. Because finally, I think Max Gawn will be challenged by the big fella. But I think Melbourne will be way too good. That's my early impressions on this one. I'm going to go back to the stats.
I disagree. But are you going?
Pull all the stats out.
You know what I love? I know what I love about you.
Because the stats...
You know what I love about you? You haven't mentioned a
much of a
stat
stats man.
all year. And then we lead in a Friday night's game on the couch, you're like, number one in this, number one in contested ball, number one in this. And it's like,
I don't really necessarily think that stats in the home and away season mean too much.
Okay,
but
so
when it
it's only
comes to
finals.
finals, contested possessions, inside 50s, clearances, centre clearances are very important because pressure goes up and ball use drops, and it's about the players that can get inside and win the footy. And the D's are number one in all those areas that I mentioned, and that's why they won the game on the weekend against Geelong, and that's why they'll beat the Hawks.
Will Segler play? I actually think the Hawks made a mistake last week playing two ruckmen.
I don't think Segler will play
I agree.
again. No, I don't. And they didn't get much dominance anyway out of it, so I don't think he will play. I'll just let McAvoy go head-to-head with the big fella.
And I think the thing that really worked last week against the Cats is that the Demons defensively mix and match a lot. And they only have the one big forward last week with Tom Hawkins. Did a really good job to limit the inside 50 and the ball supply and the quality of ball supply. And they're going to have a similar situation this week because really the Hawks, when you go forward, they got Roughhead, of course, but the guys who are able to kick goals, and I'm talking the Gunstons or even their midfields, be it the Bruce, they're not these big gorillas that would test the Demons' backline with that, in particular with that Jake Lever. So I think that's another huge positive for the D's heading into it.
Yeah, Oscar McDonald and old Frosty back there, they'll be a bit more comfortable, you would think, this week. But the players who were down last week were the more experienced players. So what you know about Hawthorne is they will be better than last week because Burgoyne won't play two bad games in a row. Bruce won't, Piopolo won't, Gunston won't. These are all players that were down last week. So you expect them to stand up. I think it'll be closer than what I'm anticipating.
You're talking a 10-goal win for the D's.
I was talking a blowout at one stage.
Which is ridiculous. And also, you write about the experienced players. You also point out Sicily was rusty in his first final after having 6 weeks off with a broken hand, so he struggled. Morrison wasn't great. And then you have other players, at the Hawks who didn't really... Connor Nash was another guy in his third or fourth game. If he plays this week, that'll be an interesting one. You have kids at the Hawks playing their first final who Ryan Burton, another one who didn't set the world on fire from the start. Didn't really... The concern will be no Ben Stratton, you would assume, with the hamstring or thigh? No, the hamstring injury. He should have been an All-Australian. So that's going to be the thing because the small mids or the small dynamic forward line without Jesse Hogan of Melbourne has become their strength.
It's actually
all grouping around Tom McDonald.
Right. And their forward pressure has also gone to another level with Jesse Hogan now. I know he was playing further and higher up the ground at times, but it's just added an extra dimension, I think, in their forward line with him being out, which is very strange to say because he's a pretty handy player.
If they get to grand final day, there will be a defence that won't worry about that, and that is Richmond because they're so structurally good defensively. Other teams, younger teams, Hawthorne being one of them, might have a little bit of trouble. But I still think, I'm not saying definitely the Hawks will win, but everyone and their dog is tipping the D's. It's an emotionally great story. I get it.
The Dogs are riding the wave. The Tigers are riding the wave.
The Tigers didn't ride the wave. The Tigers were the best team for the last 6 weeks. No doubt about it in 2017.
Not the first half of the year.
There you go. All right, so that's that. Saturday's going to be a ripping contest, though, because the Pies were so good. And they fell around 10 or 12 minutes short to knock off the Eagles at Optus. Now they've got to back it up, take on the Giants. Josh Kelly's knee with that meniscus or possible meniscus tear is going to be one to follow during the course of the week. But the Giants roll into town. And they will play on Saturday. And they beat them in round 2 by 8 points, the Giants, when we all thought the Giants were going to be really good. And everyone thought the Pies were going to struggle, except for me, who tipped them to, of course, finish in the top 4. But as it stands, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting clash. I'm leaning towards the Giants, only because I'm not sure I can trust Collingwood just yet.
You serious?
I just don't. There's just something...
Okay.
There's something about the D's that I love, and there's something about Collingwood that I just can't put my finger on that
Really?
I don't trust about them yet.
Well, it'll be interesting. Both these teams have had to play really good footy in the second half of the year. The Pies with their next man up with so many injuries and have been able to do it, while the Giants dug themselves a hole early and now find themselves, of course, in the second week and staring maybe at a third straight prelim. So they've had to play really good footy continuously to be able to put themselves in this situation. They were great. They were great on Saturday. They're contested. The one thing that has never let the Giants down has been their elite ball use. They didn't use it that well in the first half on Saturday when they were dominant around the stoppages and the clearances.
Yeah, they didn't cash in, but their contested footy is underrated, I think. People talk about, they're the Ferrari of the AFL, and the way that they move the ball. I don't think necessarily that they move the ball as quickly as what they could, given their running power, but I think their contest and their inside work stacks up with anyone in the competition. So I think we don't value that, because when we think about the Giants, we think about the sexy ball use, running off halfback Whitfield, Dylan Shield, overlapping through the middle of the ground. But their contest work, led by Cal Ward, do you know what his nickname is?
Go on.
Cement Head.
How come?
I call him that because he's really hard at the footy.
Is he really?
Yeah. Not many people talk about it, but that's where he got the nickname.
Who does Phil Davis play on?
Who does Phil Davis play on?
As great as he was amazing last week.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. Is he going to be in that intercept position, or is he going to have to go to a Mason Cox? And then it's an interesting one because he was so dominant last week.
Would you waste him on Mason Cox?
I wouldn't. No.
My check. See, even. Don't know. It's an interesting one. Maybe just play on Mason Cox if he even plays.
Mason Cox will play.
You reckon they'll give him another shot?
Of course, you get another shot. He's played bad football before and been given a spot in the 22 each and every week, and it was his first final too. So I won't say I was fairly critical of Mason Cox on the Armchair Experts on Saturday night. Gets an opportunity in his second final to get the nerves out of the way back at home, and good luck to him.
So who wins? You going Pies?
I think the Pies. They've got that whole, the next man up mantra and all the rest of it. You make a really good point about Goldsack and Treloar and Howe in second week. You're a little sore.
Coming back from Perth.
No, it's going to be tough, but I just think the Giants don't play the MCG all that well. And I'll tell you when the Giants don't play well, and I'm no Jane Bunn, so I haven't seen the 7-day forecast.
Okay.
But if it rains, Giants aren't that good. When the rain comes, it throws the Giants out.
It'd be 24.
24 and sunny, will it?
Beautiful. Yep. Just got. What's that? Oh, yeah, that's straight from Jane.
Straight from Jane. Okay, 24 and sunny. So if that's the case, take the weather argument out of it. But I think the Pies will win.
Okay.
By 4 points.
I disagree.
And I think we're going to see 100,000. Can you find out during the course of the week before we're back Friday for the Armchair Experts? Has there ever been 100,000 people at a prelim? Because I think we are going to see it.
All right,
we're going to see it.
Is that my homework for the week? Or?
That is your homework. To be honest, I can't ask you to do anything more.
Marcus, Google that for me.
Can you? Also, if you want, YouTube Ricky Nixon's football career, because you saying to me that you didn't know that Ricky Nixon played the game was one of the most stunning revelations of 2018.
I was being facetious.
Were you really?
He had a terrific career that
for who?
Spanned many games.
Who did he play for?
He played for a couple of clubs. Definitely the Saints.
Okay, there you go. Got there in the end.
Definitely.
We are the Armchair Experts.
Number
Friday night,
36.
we're going to be on Twitter at 7AFL to get involved.
On your chicken.
Can't wait for it. Hawthorne and Melbourne. Until then, hit us up on Twitter.